All right, guys. So I'd like to welcome you to the Mad Maker Show. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope good. We have a special guest tonight, just totally awesome. We have David Gagné from Elm City Vintage, and we're going to get to him. I'm pretty excited about the interview. Someone I've always wanted to know more about. If you don't know Elm City Vintage, well, it's just, I'll tell you what, to me, rock and roll. But we're going to get to that in a little bit. I just want to mention to you folks that are, showing up here through YouTube for the first time. I just want to mention that this is a show about people that make things, and that includes everything you could imagine, from metalworking to woodworking to electronics, everything you could imagine, crafts in general. So we interview these people, and they're extraordinary people that do things, and they're kind of different. You have this sort of wide road and people walking down the road of life, and then you have these people that are stopping to maybe, I don't know, smell the flowers or grab a flower and dip it in epoxy, right? And so these are the people that we like to interview and see what we can glean from them as far as inspiration, and also bookmark their lives, that this moment snapshot picture of, so that maybe in the future it can be looked back and, oh, this is where this person was at this point in time. They were thinking this, they were doing that. So very exciting stuff. And so stick around and check it out. My name is Eloy, by the way, and co-host, and the show would not be possible without that dude over there, JP Woodwork.
Hello, everybody. As Eloy said, I'm JP Woodwork. You can find all my social medias at jp-woodwork.com, which is my YouTube, which is JP Woodwork. Twitter and Instagram is JP_Woodwork. I'm 1/5 of the Makers International podcast, which can be found at makersinternationalpodcast.com. Both websites are sponsored by Steve Newland at Harnealmedia, which can be found at harnealmedia.com. I'm sitting here drinking coffee out of my man crafting mug. And speaking of Chad from Man Crafting, he's just reached 15,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. So well done to Chad. Paul Wilmore from Wilmore's World of Wood, I believe that's what his channel is called, has just passed 1,000 subscribers. And Jake from Northside Custom Crafts, he was doing a cutting board raffle for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and altogether he raised about $1,000 for the charity. So well done to Jake Thompson for that. Also, I want to bring up Sophie from Make It Soph. She's just started a new Instagram and I believe a Facebook page as well, called Soph's Mini Makers. So if you've got a mini maker in your family, I believe the age range is anyone below the age of 18. But I'm sure if you go to Sophie, she can clarify the ages. Then they can submit a project or whatever, and she will feature them in some way or another. So the Instagram is Soph's Mini Makers on Instagram. Okay, and that's about it.
Okay, awesome, dude. So, well, if you guys out there have any questions, you can start, asking. But we'll have a few segments where we have questions. So I'd like to welcome David Gagné, Elm City Vintage. What's going on, dude?
Not much. Thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Dude, it's a total pleasure. Like I said at the offset. So I just want to say it like this to start off like this. So I came across your channel and your work through Tim Sway.
Of course. Yeah, Tim's like my neighbor. He lives right up the street.
Really?
Yeah. He lives on like 15 minutes away.
Well, I remember the first time that it was on his channel, and you guys were riding bikes. You had, I don't know if you were fabricating bikes or you brought a bike over to his shop or something happened. I don't remember exactly, but I remember that video because he had introduced you. And then you drove your bike, or he drove his bike over to your place. How was that? Do you remember that video I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. There's been a lot of like Tim Sway and bicycle stuff back and forth. I know I gave his daughter Maddie a bike a while back, and Tim did a little bit in the backyard about that. So
he mentioned you, and I went. You see, that's the power of like the internet and marketing, is that he mentioned you, and I went to check you out.
Yeah.
And then I saw what you did. Were you in the group, the I Like to Make Stuff group, before that?
Oh yeah, I was.
Dude, and I didn't know, but that was the first time I focused on you, and I was, so I like, you have a, dude, you're total rock and roll, dude. Like,
thank you. I think I was in like probably the first, I don't know, maybe 400 people in the original I Like to Make Stuff group.
And
then
your channel, I'm sorry, go ahead, sorry.
And the I Like to Make Stuff group. Then Andrew kicked me out at one point, but I had my Elm City Vintage Facebook page, so I was still able to post in there.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Hit us. So, I gotta know. Keep
yeah. So
going.
Eventually, he ended up letting me back in. I think it had something to do with he was raising money for Jimmy for something or another, and I donated money to the cause, and he let me back in.
Oh,
I don't know exactly why I got kicked out, but I was cracking some jokes that he didn't like. You know, there was a lot of people that kind of came and went early on.
Oh wow, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you've been around for a while. Your channel has, right? When did you start your channel?
I don't know. It's probably a couple years old now. Maybe a little bit more than that.
Dude, I think it's more than a couple of years, dude. No,
it's all a big blur. Maybe.
Yeah. No, you've been around for like a while, dude. Yeah. So you're not even counting, are you?
Everything's just a big blur.
Okay, well,
you know, I was in the group and on Instagram long before I was making videos.
Yeah.
You know, I was very reluctant to make videos at first because I didn't want to be just like another mediocre video maker. Like, you know, here I am making a cutting board or a wine rack out of a pallet. So I had to kind of develop my own style. But like Tim really pushed me in the direction of like, just do it, you know, you'll be fine. And even Jimmy DiResta, you know, he's like, oh, just do it. And, you know, I kind of found my stride after a little while.
Dude, it's true about Tim Sway and Jimmy. I've heard a lot of people mention that, and they say this, you know, they just encourage like, hey man, just that's what you want to do, just go into it.
Just go and do it. Yeah.
Which is so true. And Tim Sway did that. I did a guitar, or after I saw him do like there was a season where he was just doing guitars out of like anything you could pick up from the ground. And I reached out to him and I said, hey dude, so I'm curious, you know, I'm kind of worried about the fretboard and, you know, the distance between, you know, that and he said, dude, just do it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay.
Tim actually told me this story.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. When you hit him up, he's like, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He just said, and I said, okay, yeah, man. I was all bold and stuff. Yeah, you know. So, but the truth of the matter, though, so yes, I'm totally down with the idea. But when I did do that guitar, I'm going to tell you, I'll come clean with that, is that you can play rhythm on it. But, dude, if you try to bend those strings, because there's actual, you know, you have to actually like be precise to some degree in the angle of the neck. So I could play rhythm with it, but if you want to play lead, grab another axe.
Yeah.
it'll make you bleed.
Yeah.
Dude. So, but yeah. So let me ask you this, just so we'll put this to the side for now, and let me ask you, can you give us a little bit of background, a little bit of history? We want to get to know you better. Whatever you want to share, like from the beginning, give us a history, family, where you're at, just that sort of thing. More so area and family and like memories. And then later we'll talk about like what you know, like the wood, the metalworking, woodwork, all that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was an only child. Early on, I got heavily into like skateboarding and BMX. So I was never really a team sport kind of guy. I guess being an only child, I always had to keep myself busy. So like I was always like, you know, in the backyard, like building ramps for my bikes and maybe like a fort, you know, so I could sit in it by myself, you know, stuff like that. But I always kept myself busy building things and creating things. And I guess later on in life, you know, that kind of transferred over into becoming a carpenter. I was a carpenter for 7 years. I was a photographer, kind of part-time, not really full-time photographer, photographing bands for a number of years. Like I used to photograph hardcore bands for probably a decade or so. So I'm kind of familiar with camera stuff. I'm not exactly sure where I got seriously into making this time around. Probably just like little do-it-yourself projects at home. Like I want a shelf, so I'm just going to make a shelf. I'm going to make a bookcase. Then it gets into more creative projects. And a lot of the furniture at my current house and my previous house I made, you know, stuff that's a little bit, you know, off the beaten path. Actually, some stuff's easier to buy than to build, but you get the satisfaction out of building it.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Then
go on. I'm sorry.
Then you know, I'm a professional bicycle mechanic. I've been a bicycle mechanic for probably the better part of 30 years now, believe it or not. So I work with my hands all day long, and I hate to see anything go to waste. So anything that's getting discarded at work, I tend to hold on to it. And I have like just buckets of bits and pieces and sprockets and wheels and all this other crap that I'm always making stuff out of. I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself here.
That's fine. That's fine. It's an organic thing, but every time you're mentioning these things, the imagery of the things that you've done start popping up in my head. I was thinking of like you know, your like coat racks and stuff, and then all these things are popping up, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get that. We gotta pop that. Oh wait, no, but it's fine because it's supposed to be organic. So keep going like that, and then we'll come back to those questions. Those my questions.
Yeah. Then I don't know. Let me see, probably early 2000s. Okay, let me get back on track here. I had a couple motorcycles, and for some strange reason, I always wanted a Vespa scooter. So I ended up getting a Vespa scooter. And if you know anybody that has vintage scooters, nobody just has one. You know, you get one that's a rider, then you have to have a project. So one turned into two, two into three, three into four. The next thing you know, you have a dozen of them. So I was always working on those, like restoring them and modifying them and performance tuning them. So that probably led up to like more modern, like building and fabricating and welding and stuff, you know, restoring the scooters. You know, something will have like a floorboard that has a little bit of rot on it, and you borrow a friend's welder and you weld a patch in it. Then you decide, well, maybe I should get a welder myself. Then I bought my first welder and, you know, made a couple things here and there, and I guess it progressed from there.
DeResta had a welder, and now he has a McAfee.
What was that?
DeResta had a welder.
Oh,
so that
went right over my head.
So let me ask you. So you pick up things that have been discarded, and well, there was a lot there. And by the way, for the folks that don't know Elm City Vintage and the channel, all the links are below in the description. Everything, right? So go there and check that out, as well as JP and my stuff. So there's always a list of links for people to learn more, you know, if they want to find out more about your story. But so we'll touch upon, so you sort of recycle things, reclaim things. I can't help but and I don't know if it's because of the music that you use, and I don't think it is. It's a combination of everything, but it's total rock and roll, total punk rock. Like it's like the right feeling for me, right? Yeah. It's like I look at your videos, and I, honest to goodness, dude, I think to myself, hell yeah, rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? You'll toss things onto the workbench, you know, and like, let's go. Or you'll dump a bucket, and just everything spreads all over the place. Let's do this, right? Let's kick some butt.
Yeah, well, punk rock is all about doing it yourself. So, like, you know, if a T-shirt wasn't available back in the day, you made a T-shirt of your favorite band, whether you're doing it with Sharpies or spray paint and stencils, and you know. I just try to keep that going through, and
Oh, totally, dude.
Yeah.
So hit us with, like, I was mentioning the coat rack before. You take like the
kickstands.
Yeah. But hit us with a few of the items that you look at and that you've thought, well, I'm going to turn this into this. Can you give us a little bit of what your thinking is behind these things? Because we really, a lot of folks out there are doing crazy stuff, and some of the people out there have been on the show and given us, a little bit of the lowdown of how they think and stuff. So how does this all, all these thoughts about, oh, I'm going to turn this into this and this, how do you get your ideas? And talk about a little bit of the things that you do or have created.
Okay. I don't know if I actually have a process, if that's a word. I'm kind of borderline hoarder. So at work, like anything that's getting discarded, I put in a 5-gallon bucket, and I have like these 5-gallon buckets that are all over the place. And every now and then I'll get to the point where like, maybe it's time to make something. And, you start to think, okay, what's it going to be this time? So you're like looking at a 5-gallon bucket full of like random bicycle parts, whether it's kickstands or sprockets or cranks or hubs or spokes, whatever. Then something will kind of catch your eye, and you'll pick it up and take a look at it and go, okay, this is kind of interesting. What could this be? Then what I usually do when I'm in the middle of making something, it starts out with an idea. I'll take whatever I'm going to work with and I'll just put it in front of me. Like at work, I'll just put it across from my workbench, and I'll just like periodically stare at it like all day long. Then ideas kind of come to me that way. And I also have a notebook right next to my workbench at work. And I'll just get these random ideas, random thoughts. So like, okay, I don't know where it came from, but boom, an idea popped in my head, and I'll just kind of scribble it down. So I have like all these notebooks full of yellow lined paper with all these like weird drawings and strange words. I have a whole gang of Post-it notes too, that most of the Post-it notes don't make any sense, but like at the time they do. Sometimes I'll just write like a single letter down on a Post-it note and put it like next to me. But then the pile of Post-it notes ends up being like, an inch thick of all these random ideas. And you go back and try to figure out where your brain was that day. What the hell was I thinking looking at this note? But a lot of projects start out with me just staring at something. I made this 4-foot robot years ago, and it started out with just some cardboard boxes I had at the bike shop, just leaning it up against the wall. Like, okay, that looks kind of like a robot. And I went from there.
So that you have a video where you fabricate the base of a table, coffee table, and then you drop a huge slab of concrete on it. Well, you could tell us a little bit about that, but so you wheel it in, or it ends up in your living room, and you sit down some drinks or whatever. And is that your living room? Yes, it is.
Okay. And I think in that video, at the end of it, I think I'm watching Tim Sway on TV with my feet up on the table, if I'm not mistaken. I've had that tabletop for probably 15, almost 20 years now. And it used to be on just a wooden base. And I had a condo in New Haven, and it fit the space well, but the house that I'm currently living in, we eat at the coffee table all the time. So we're always like scooting the couch up to the table or pulling the table back. So I was like, I really need to make some sort of base for this thing. So I got the idea of making a metal base for it. And that's what that video is all about. Kind of funny story is that slab probably weighs about, I'm guessing 160, 170 pounds. So it's a real bear to move. And when we were bringing it in the house, a friend of mine was helping me. We ended up breaking the storm door window when the door shut on it when we were bringing it in.
Wow,
and the window's still broken from the door.
Oh, that's rock and roll, dude.
Oh yeah, but the table's right there. It's the best table ever. It's 2 feet wide by 4 feet long.
Did you film it, like actually doing the top of the cement and all that? You didn't film that part, no?
No, it's bluestone. So it's like a mantle stone or a tread. Yeah. It's 2 inches thick. So it's a beast.
Wow.
But putting on casters was the best thing I ever did with that table.
Dude, I totally love the whole. So I basically do you know, rustic. I enjoy it. I like the gouges and the scratches and the grunge and the grit.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have.
You and me both.
Yeah, like, you know, I think that's why I really dig what you do, and I love your keychain, like the skulls. Like, I'm totally like skulls for me.
Yeah.
It's like, in fact, talking about skulls, I won. Look at this, guys, out there in the. I won this bad to the bone. Let me see if it'll focus. We gotta have it focus. Look at this wicked shovel of evil.
It's one hell of a shovel.
And you have a video of you plasma cutting this out.
Yes.
And this is the one of the two in the video, yeah? I
believe so. I think that was hanging on the side of my barn when I sent it to you. That's why it has a nice patina to it.
Oh, I love it, dude. I did a video in reply to you for it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Awesome.
I went monstrous, dude. I said, no, I've got to do this for David. It's got to be like evil, monstrous, freaking rock and roll. Yeah, I'm a fan, dude. I'm a fan. You give the right vibe off, the rock and roll. Do people tell you that a lot, or no?
Not really rock and roll. People just talk about more of an attitude, but it's really not an attitude. I'm like just a super mellow guy. It just comes across that way in the videos. I don't know, I guess I had to set myself apart somehow in my video style. And it comes across like kind of aggressive, but it's really not. It's really
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Talk about that. It's really not okay. That's interesting as hell, dude. Hit us with that, because that's one thing. You know, that's one thing. So my perception is, you know, not that you're, you know, you're pissed while you're doing it, but that like you're full throttle. We're gonna build this and we're gonna bend this, and you know what? And you're gonna take it, and you're gonna take it, and even so, I enjoy that watching that, right? So, but you're saying something different, and please hit us with that. That's actually awesome. Tell us.
Oh yeah, it's just all for the videos. You know, my garage is a mess. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not building anything that aggressive. It just comes out that way in the videos.
Yeah, but dude,
it
so
seems
like.
to work.
No, it totally works.
Yeah. I think it works for me and it works against me, because, you know, a lot of the comments on my videos is like, you know, I really liked your video, but I hate the music.
Oh,
but you can't make everybody happy.
No, I can't stand that. I'm going to be a little bit honest and open here. I can't stand it. So everything has to, and forgive me. I'm just, you know what? It's time to be real. Forgive me. To me, how you do it and the music that you put it, that's the sweet spot. And obviously it's for my liking. But,
yeah, same here.
And many people, right? And it doesn't have to be like that all the time. It could be something. Yeah. But that whole, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it because we have to be real. That whole, and plus this is rockin' Woodwork. That's the head of Woodwork. So, that whole like ultra pop with the little voices and then the beat, you know, that whole thing, like you're like traveling through some fancy, you know, city, and then it just I don't like it. I don't like that sound, and I hate that it'll discourage a lot of people, but I gotta be real. I don't like that plastic. I like plastic, like, you know, and like materials like your epoxies and stuff, but not the music, that sort of rubber soul, plastic soul type thing, like devoid of humanity. It's like if you're on a walkway, a catwalk, or like it's all this. No, I want grit.
Yeah,
I want grit. Sorry.
So when I no worries, man. When I first started making videos, I was just using like old punk rock music, because that's the music I grew up on, and that's the music I still listen to. And I was never really worried about monetizing my channel. Like, you know, I'm having fun just, you know, making videos. I don't want to make money off it right now. But it got to the point where like some of my videos were starting to catch on a little bit, and, you know, I was getting a little following, and I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't use music that's copyrighted, because, you know, maybe I could make a little bit of money sometimes. So like, I think right now I'm, I don't know, 5,500 followers or subscribers on my YouTube channel, you know, a bunch of views, but I still haven't made $1 off YouTube. I think my estimated earnings are probably around, you know, $70 right now.
I don't understand. Oh, I understand.
Yeah,
Sorry, I totally forgot that. That shocked me so much. Okay, continue.
Yeah, because it's all, well, the majority of it was copyrighted music. So I have some videos with like, hundreds of thousands of views, but that goes to the record label for the Bad Brains, not to me.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just, so it kind of opened a can of worms a little bit, but it's good because let me just talk about that, and ask both of you guys this. And if there's any questions that we're leading into, JP, you could always stop us.
There's a few questions.
Okay, so we'll get to that in half a second. But I want to sort of, because this is an important thing, because this is a particular situation. And by the way, I can add, because I sell music that's not copyrighted. So it's good too, right? Not to be like
yeah.
But here's the thing: you have all these videos that are getting massive views back, in your playlist there. You're doing video and you have used this music, but wouldn't it be more fair that, okay, so the music is being used, we still want to get monetization on the music side, but let's cut the revenue in half and give the dude that's working on the actual visuals and project half? That would be to me, that would be a fair deal.
I totally agree.
Did that ever come to mind?
Is there no way that you can just leave the video there and just edit the music in the YouTube studio or something like that?
Well, I could use music that's not copyrighted, or I could, I have countless friends that have bands. So the last handful of videos I've done, I've used actual friends' bands' music because I'm like, oh, maybe I could make some money off this. But it's kind of a catch-22 for me because I never really intended to make money with YouTube videos. I wanted to make cool stuff so my friends could enjoy it. Like you enjoy what I'm doing, which is awesome. A lot of other people enjoy what I'm doing. It's not about chasing the dollar for me. I have a day job. This is just for fun. And because I'm making these videos, like I get to hang out with you guys right now in this chat and you're talking to me about the videos I make. I'm friends with Tim Sway. I'm friends with Jimmy. I'm friends with like all these other really cool people because of the videos that I make. So, that's very rewarding to me. I'm not trying to earn a living off it right now.
Oh, I totally. Go ahead, JP, if you had another question. I don't want to just let go of this conversation just yet, but do you have another question in this before we?
we had a laugh at one of your videos on the podcast with regards to them the skull nuts that you made.
Yeah.
When we had Sarah Connor on, and she mentioned the nuts, and we just couldn't stop laughing for about 5 minutes. It was so funny. We were talking about the fiery nuts, and Chris Coote was trying his hardest not to laugh, but he was apologising at the same time, and it was just hilarious. So, but I can totally understand where you're coming from, where you just want to do it for fun, because that's the way I am at the moment. Is I can get tossed about the money. I never intended to do it for money.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, if I really want to make money, like the projects that I make, I could sell them for more money than I would ever gain with YouTube revenue.
Yeah.
Like even like the skull shovels. I've sold a handful of them, but if I really wanted to push it, I could batch out 50 of them and put them up on Etsy for $50 each. And I'm sure people would gobble them up, but I have kind of a short attention span. So every now and then I make them.
I'll say this with the skull shovels. And I thought of this because of obviously your skull shovel and the whole Tim Sway thing. And there's shovels that are guitars. Why not blend? And I thought of doing this myself, but I don't have a plasma cutter. I could sit there with an angle grinder and a Dremel and start, and I could do that. But why not imagine a skull shovel guitar or bass? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be killer.
Dude, could you imagine that?
Yeah, but I have seen people make shovel guitars before.
Yeah.
But not a skull shovel.
Dude, that's what, and I shouldn't have said it live.
It's a tick off, but
I should not have said it live because it's such a great combo, dude.
Yeah.
Now all these makers that have like 20 plasma cutters, like they're sitting in a room watching this channel right now with like 15 plasma, all up on, and like 5 bandsaws. Yeah. They're all getting to work now, and there's like we're gonna flood the market.
You just filled their pockets.
Yeah, this is like So I just want
you have a shovel right there. Make that into a guitar. That could be your thing.
See, but you know, I did think that, dude. But at the same time, I didn't want to. I want to keep it as, you know, the Elm. You know, I tell people, everybody.
I'll just send you another one.
When folks come by, I put the shovel. Listen to this, dude. I'm gonna tell you. I don't care.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you. I put my
secret.
Yeah, just us three.
Yeah.
I put the shovel because my neighborhood, just a lot of annoying people. I'm sorry to say. You know, I'm not a conflictive person. I like peace and, you know, but like, oh my goodness. So, and a lot of these folks believe in like omens and like witch doctor type, you know, like they're. So I put the shovel with the skull right by my door. And like, you know, so that people can see it while they walk, so that they don't bother me. You know, even the mailman thinks twice about coming around. They still do, but I do that. So the shovel is actually sitting next to my front door. And then I had this really screwed up project I did with a spoon. I torched it and had a skull. It's like a ladle with a skull. It's like, and I place it there too. Like I want to fill the whole place with like omens, bad omens, just to keep the tidal waves away. But I did want to. This is the last thing, and we'll get to the questions. I'm sorry for the folks out there. I just want to like get this on. So I do remember about the whole monetization thing, and I get it. You know what you guys, what both of you are saying. I remember when Tim Sway, at some point, because I've been following him for a long time. I love what he's doing now. That guitar thing he's doing.
Oh yeah.
And the sawhorse thing was pretty cool. Pretty cool. You know, you can lift it and like regulate. Yeah. But so I remember at one point he was worried because he was pondering to monetize. I don't think he was monetized prior. I don't know what it was exactly. And he said, "Guys, I'm thinking about it, but how do you feel about, you know, monetizing?" And I was one of the first people when he wrote that. I said, dude, if people follow you, you know, you gotta make a living. You know, if it's an extra, you know, thing that you. So, dude, do it. You know, I'm not gonna stop watching you in a million years because you monetize, or you know what I'm saying. And a lot of people replied in that, and then he started. I think that's how it went.
Yeah, he was very torn at first.
Yeah,
but I think he had like a conversation with Izzy about that. And something that I wasn't aware of is like the algorithms with YouTube. Like if you monetize, you're considered a partner versus just a freeloader, you know, uploading free videos. So if you are monetized, YouTube is going to promote your videos more than somebody who's not monetized because it kind of works with everything. So I think that was like a step to grow his channel also. Yeah, and there's also the benefit. Well, that's good to know that those conversations occurred. You heard it here, folks, first. Or Tim is the one that Tim convinced me to monetize my channel. Oh wow! Yeah. Well, it's good that you. Yeah, still haven't made $1 off it, but now I have to deal with commercials. That's fine. You know what, dude? Honestly, so like, and it's different with everybody. I'm gonna have to shut up because JP, I know you have questions, but okay, I have more. I'll shut up and I'll allow, you know, for you to continue your bit because that wouldn't be fair to the people out there. So I'll be quiet. I have more conversation. I'll let you go. Go ahead, do it. There's only a few at the moment. And let us know who's there if you want. I'll go through who's over there first. Right, we've got Tracy Keaton, Katie Dotson, Javi's Woodshop, Liberty Woodworking, Jim Dockrell, Jim Bashir's, Man Crafting, Bobby Duke. I'm over there. Odessa Woodworking. Let's keep going up. Tom Spillane. I've forgotten his name. Mr. Texas. You know what I'm talking about. Don't you? Julian Martinez, that's it. Jake Thompson. Ryan Bitters from Waylight Creations. Who else said? Doc was over there. Sterling's over there. Harnealmedia's over there, which is Steve Nealon. That's I just missed one. There you go. Chipped Builds. That's it. So yeah. You missed Bobby. You missed Bobby Duke, Mark Lindsay, Portal Woodworks.
Jim
No,
Doc.
I didn't miss Bobby Duke because I screamed when he came into the room. No. Oh, John from Be Happy's just come into the room. You got to scream every time Bobby comes into the room. It's like a natural. It's like a natural reaction.
Did you guys see Bobby Duke's latest creation? I know this is a segue, but people have been talking. Pam Harris from Highland Boxes. I went over and saw one of her videos, and she and I told Bobby Duke about it. She said, "Wow, what an inspiration!" He carves. Did you guys see it? I don't know if you guys saw it.
Yeah, weren't impressed.
You weren't impressed.
Not sure.
I mean, he took cottonwood, that very barky texture.
From Canada.
And we got cottonwood down here, actually. I don't know if it's the same one that they got over there. And he carved like a Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, sort of fairy.
Yeah, fairy castle, wasn't it?
Well, I say Lord of the Rings, but like a house with steps and the detail and lights and the whole thing, really bad to the bone. And we're happy for Bobby Duke because he's rocking and rolling like a beast, and it couldn't be happening to a better person, to be honest with you. So segue, go ahead, dude.
And he's also part of Team Cacao as well.
Is he?
Yeah, he's got the Cole Jacobson Cacao t-shirt.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, on with the questions. Jim Bashirs would like to know, have you ever put a bag of dog poo in front of Tim Sway's door, lit it, rang the doorbell, and run away?
I have not. I've never been to Tim Sway's house. I've been to his shop countless times, but I've never been to his house.
Okay.
Maybe the first time I go to his house, I will.
Okay. If Tim ever watches this, he's never going to invite you.
Yeah.
Tom Spillane says, "Did you ever ride BMX? Did you ever race BMX? Sorry."
Yes, I did back in the 80s, from like probably 83, 4, 5, maybe 86. I was more of a freestyle guy back then, and I was competing in freestyle competitions around New England in probably 86, 87.
Very cool. Very, very cool. What is it? It's Run CNC. Nick. Yeah, he rides. I don't know if he still does, actually.
He still does.
Oh, he still does, does he?
Yeah. He's one hell of a rider.
Yeah. Okay. Julian Martinez says, what welder was your first welder?
It was a Lincoln 135 that I got at Home Depot. I think it was a deal where you buy the welder, you get the cart for free, and it was probably $350. And I recently gave that welder to I can't think of his real name, but he goes by Quirky Dad on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. And
it's a great starter welder.
Very cool. Another one from Jim Bashir. He says, "When did you cut your hair short?"
That was probably, I used to have long ass hair. I'm guessing probably around 92, 93 was the first time. It used to be halfway down my back.
Wow.
Yeah. I had Farrah Fawcett hair back then.
Blimey, I could imagine you like that.
Yeah.
I
currently have the same amount of hair. It just grows in different places now.
Yeah, just under the chin.
Yeah.
and now we'll have the ear hair question, folks.
Yeah, the ear hair. I'm going to actually ask a question. It's actually about the lunch boxes, because obviously behind you we can see you've got a lot of them. What possessed you to start collecting lunch boxes?
That's a good question. Probably going to New York City and like a lot of those cool vintage toy stores back in the early 90s. They had a lot of lunch boxes on display. I remember going to a flea market and I bought the Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox, and that was the very first one. Then of course you can't just have one. Then it just spirals out of control from there. And I think I have like 165 different ones right now.
Wow.
All vintage.
Wow, I don't ever remember metal ones, or I only ever remember the plastic ones with the flasks.
Yeah.
When we was at school, like the 8, I think I had an 18 one. I can't remember.
Right.
Like,
1987 was when they stopped making the metal ones.
I totally remember the tin lunch boxes. We used to take them to school.
Yeah. Rambo was the last metal lunchbox ever produced.
Oh, really?
In
Why
1987.
Why was that?
I guess there was a group of concerned mothers that were scared that kids were going to hurt each other with them. Now kids just bring guns to school, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give them the lunchboxes back. After 1987, they started making plastic lunchboxes.
Wow, dude.
Javi wants to know if you have the $6 million man lunchbox.
I have 2 different ones.
Nice.
Yeah. And actually, Lee Majors was the only actor that was on 2 different lunchboxes. He was on $6 Million Man and Fall Guy.
Oh, I used to love the Fall Guy, dude.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. What a trip.
Yeah. Everyone has some sort of childhood memory attached to it, you know, growing up on all those shows.
There was the Transformer one.
Yep. I think I have it.
Man. Awesomeness.
Wow.
See, I love that. I love that, you know. The past, you know, it's a nice thing. I guess it's like comfort food in a way. You know, we look to the past, and I like the music of the past. I like, you know, I guess that's the whole vintage, you know.
Yeah, that's why I call myself Elm City Vintage, between like the vintage cars and scooters and lunchboxes and bicycles, you know, Schwinn Stingrays and vintage BMX bikes and beach cruisers and stuff. You know, it brings me back to a much simpler time in my life.
Dude, I'm with you 100% with that. I that's how I look at it. I mean, yeah, totally. Some people don't want to reflect on the. I don't think that might be true. I don't know. Yeah. I'm curious to see what other people might think about that.
Yeah, I don't live in the past, but I definitely enjoy the memories of it. That's for sure.
Yes. It's not like you wallow, but it's nice to, and plus you get inspiration for things.
Oh, for
goodness
sure.
sakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about that.
Sterling said, what got you into bikes?
Probably my cousin Joey back when I was really young. I had a cousin who was 5 years older than me, and he was one of those guys that would go to the dump and bring home all these bicycle carcasses and make these bikes that he called bombers. And I really looked up to my cousin at that point. So like I'd go over his house and, you know, we'd go to the dump and would get these bicycle carcasses and put them together. And next thing you know, we're riding down the street. And it just kind of spiraled out of control from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't remember my first one. It was just know it was a BMX, and it was a big BMX.
Yeah. I was a carpenter for 7 years. Then I guess it was probably early 90s. There was a recession, and I was out of work for 3 weeks. So I answered an ad in the paper for this company called Huffy Service First, and they were basically a retail assembly company. So I got the job there, and I was going around to different stores like Kmart's and Toys R Us and Child World, assembling bicycles. I worked for them for probably 7 years. So I'd go to like Kmart and I'd build 50 bikes in a day in the back room. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Impact gun, screw gun, just is all piecework. You get like $4 each. You'd knock out as many of them as you could, then go home. And once I got burnt out on that, I got a job working part-time in a local bike shop. Then from there, you know, I got a full-time gig, and I've been doing it ever since.
So I presume you could put a bike together with your eyes closed now.
I probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like being a bicycle mechanic, like in my spare time, I go to like flea markets and tag sales and stuff like that. And, you know, I get bicycles for cheap. I clean them up, then, you know, sell them on Craigslist every now and then and make a little bit extra money.
Wow, blooming hell. Snow Crusher, which I think his name's Greg, isn't it, Eloy?
Greg, dude. Greg, man. What's going on? Snow Crusher.
Yeah.
Best name ever.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
He said, what is your favorite, wood, metal, or mechanical?
What was the question again?
What is your favorite, wood, metal, or mechanical?
I would probably say metal. Honestly. I definitely want to up my woodworking. Excuse me. First day with the new mouth. I definitely want to up my woodworking game. But I really enjoy working with metal. You know, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. That's how I like to do a bit more metal working, because I've never done any of it, truth be told. Go on,
ahead.
Eloy.
No. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and we'll do one last one for the time being. We've got one from Doc. He said, "What big project would you like to take on?"
Probably finishing my dune buggy. I have a Myers-Manx dune buggy that was supposed to be on top of my list for finishing this winter. And I promised myself I wouldn't take on any more projects till I finished that. And that's when I bought the 1948 Cushman scooter. Then I got halfway through that project and I started the mini bike that I'm currently working on. So I'd really love to finish the dune buggy, which that's still on my list of things to do.
There we go. And back to you, Eloy. That's it for the
Okay.
time being.
I'm just adding a link here in the background. So ask one more question.
To ask one more question. I'll have to see if I can find one.
Or make funny sounds, because I'm just typing one thing to drop a link.
Or make funny sounds. What do you have against Paul Jackman?
Yeah,
why are you always picking on Paul Jackman?
Yeah,
because Paul Jackman is
it upsets Pat Lap.
Because Paul Jackman is so freaking awesome. I can't stand it.
Yeah, he is that.
Man, fucking Paul Jackman. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
The whole thing kind of started
to be a sticker.
Yeah. When he I guess broke 100,000 subscribers, he was doing his big video, and he ended up coming over to Tim Sway's house or Tim Sway's shop, and he was doing a little video part there. And everybody was just kind of slamming him in that whole 100K celebration video. And Paul's like, "Do you want to be in the video?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, just slam me and just say anything you want. Like, the nastier, the better. So like, he completely put me on the spot and I couldn't think of anything. So I was like, "Oh, okay." You set the camera up. I'm like, "Paul Jackman sucks." I kept saying like these things, and I'd step out of the camera. I'd step back in. Like, "I hate you, Paul Jackman." Then he made a little animated GIF of the Paul Jackman sucks. And I just kind of ran with it. But Paul Jackman's my favorite right now.
Yeah,
he's upped his game so much in the last year, and I hope someday I'll be as good as Paul Jackman.
Don't we all?
Yeah. and he's one of the few people out there that he's putting like these comedy bits in his video that are just sensational, and he's doing such a good job with it.
The little fart noises.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right, so getting back to a couple of questions. So give us a little bit of a rundown of your shop, what it looks like now, what you have in there, your tools, your go-to tools. Just give us a little insight into that part of your world.
Well, I'm kind of a tool whore. I love tools, like most of us, and I probably have too much stuff in my shop to actually use most of the stuff that I have. But I have a nice, let me see, I'll start in one corner and work over. I have a nice Pexto 3-foot stomp shear, which is great for cutting sheet metal. I picked that up on Craigslist in Long Island for $300, which was a great deal. I have a nice 220 compressor, then my bandsaw. I have a MIG, a TIG, a plasma cutter.
Whoa! But can you go back and hit us with the bandsaw? Give us like what they are, like their model number and all, and the rest of it, and the welding and stuff too.
Yeah, it's, let me see. Delta 14-inch Craigslist find. I think I got that for like $300 also. Something else, like it's great to have that there because I use it all the time. I'm not as efficient with it as I'd like to be.
I've seen you cutting. I hate to interrupt, but I've seen you cutting metal after you hit it with a torch and stuff. Is that the same bandsaw, or you have a metal? I know you have a big, huge metal cutting bandsaw, don't you? Right?
I have a jet, small metal cutting, like horizontal, vertical bandsaw.
Oh, okay. Because for some reason, I pictured, I don't know why, but I thought that you had one of those huge.
No, not at all.
And what do you use to cut like the metal? Because I don't know what it was that you were cutting, but I'm trying to think. Just small pieces of metal that you heat up and then they're malleable, and then you start chipping, cutting away with it with the bandsaw. Is that true or no? Am I off? If I'm off, I'm off.
Yeah, I think you might be off.
Okay, then,
on that one.
Don't mind me whatsoever, and keep going.
Right. I have a Milwaukee portable bandsaw on a swag off-road stand. So that makes it into like a little tiny vertical bandsaw with a foot switch, which works great. I have a Belmont 2x72 belt grinder, which is the same one that Jimmy uses in all his videos. That's pretty much the reason I got it, because I saw how useful it was in his videos. I have like some metal shaping tools, like a planishing hammer, an English wheel, a shaper bag, some mallets. What else? Motorcycle lift. Then just like my normal hand tools. A couple jet disc belt combo sanders, some smaller ones, like probably a 2-inch wide by 42 with probably an 8-inch disc on it. I think that's the majority of it in kind of a nutshell. Plus like grinders and stuff like that.
What grinders are they corded? Do you have any battery?
All corded. The only cordless tools I have are just a couple screw guns.
Okay.
Cordless is great if you're on the go, but if you're in a shop and you have electricity, by all means plug in. Batteries aren't going dead on you.
I need to ask you, what's the dimensions of your shop? Because Eloy's trying to find someone with a bigger shop than Jake Thompson.
It's probably maybe 24 by 32.
Nah, it's not quite as big.
Yeah. it's basically a 2-car garage.
Just for the by the way, that's like a mansion for me.
Yeah.
That sounds like luxury living.
Yeah.
I can't like if I got a skill saw that I'm working on, and I gotta go because it's like I'm boxed in. Like,
yeah,
you could fold me up like I Jessup in one of those videos and stuff, and I'm like Jake Thompson. I realized that because he mentioned and JP mentioned that I was so impressed with it that like deep down in my subconscious, I keep mentioning his shop because it just feels so liberating. He's got this huge, and it's also a great market, pushing the guy as well. Although he needs no help, he's got a huge hangar for a shop, dude. But like, it's like, I don't know, it's like one of those huge airplane bunkers,
Oh wow.
Huge. And there's echo, so he's like, where's that wrench? Where's that wrench? Where's that wrench? And then the other person has to walk over. They have to like golf cart over. It's huge, dude, and it's in his backyard. Well, JP the other night told me, is Jake Thompson still there? Because I love vamping off to see what I'm sure he loves hearing this. Is he?
He was in the chat. He was in the chat. Yeah, he's there. He just said LOL.
Okay, so here's the thing. So JP let me know last time that that's not his only shop.
No, he's actually got 2 shops that are bigger than his house.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like mind-blowing stuff, dude, this guy. He's in Texas.
Okay.
Jake is.
Have you followed any of the progress on April's shop that she's building?
No, how's that going?
It's massive. Absolutely massive.
Is it bigger than DeResta's shop?
Yes. It looks like you could probably fit 4 of DeResta's shops inside April's shop.
Okay, I have not seen that. You're kidding.
No, it's just massive.
Dude.
And she's building just about all of it herself, which is amazing.
No, I mean, dude, but that's like...
I follow her on Instagram.
Right.
It's going to be spectacular when she finishes it.
Holy smokes, dude!
Yeah.
But when you say 4 times, because like I saw a few of the videos,
that could be an exaggeration, but between the shop and the overhang, because it has like a porch roof on it.
Okay,
it's massive.
My Jake Thompson one was not an exaggeration. The guy's got an airplane hangar, but 4 times or maybe just huge. I saw the DeResta one, and so I live in Florida. and like the way things are done here, you know, we don't see that kind of construction where, you know, just the beams and how they do that. That was sort of
pole construction.
Yeah, that was eye-opening for me, and the frickin' size of that is like, it's massive.
Yeah,
that would be what a dream, huh?
Oh my God, yeah.
I know they've worked hard for that, and it's been, you know, and I like Duresta, you know, a lot, as well as Brett kick butt.
Yeah.
So massive awesomeness.
Yeah, Jake never done nothing for his.
Yeah, dude. Jake was building cars and racing and crashing cars and just having a whole bunch of fun. And he said, "You know what? Nah, I'm going to start woodworking now." I don't know if you've seen his channel.
I have.
Yeah, he's really cool. He does a lot of cool things for charity as well.
He's a military man.
Mm-hmm. He's a stand-up guy.
Yeah, one of the best.
So you've done a lot of. What I like a lot is that you'll take a bike and you'll disembowel it and make something new out of it. All the parts of it. You've done stools. Gosh, like tables as well.
Oh, stools, tables. Yeah, trying to let anything go to waste.
Yeah. So what was the base of that stool? Because I did a stool, like, you know, an industrial stool out of a Huffy bike that I bought. What's that?
No way, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, but you might take issue because I welded some galvanized stuff.
Did you at least hold your breath?
Yeah, I did, and I did it outside.
Okay.
So you might take issue. So like I took the pole, the two conduits, and I attached them as, like, you know, stabilizers, and then I took the actual chassis of that, and I don't know what I did. I turned it around, and then I cut out a wooden disc, you know, thick 2x4s. Yeah, it made just the seating. I took a plate. It's ghetto, but at the same time, it's badass, and it keeps getting views and keeps getting views and keeps getting views. But so I'm not a welder, but I have a welder, and, you know, every now and then. But I find it super messy, dude. I don't have the conditions really.
Yeah.
To be messing with it, and I'd prefer to do it, you know, in some sort of, you know, some place away from the outside.
Your welder or just wire feed?
It's wire fed, which is a mess, dude.
It's messy. It's dirty. It's smoky. It's messy.
You know, I have seen. I don't know if you've seen this guy, and if you've seen him, cool. If you haven't, you might dig him. I don't know. There's a guy, I forget his name, but he's like, boy, like from JP's neck of the woods, kind of, more or less. He's either British, I don't know, something like Scottish, I don't know, like from over there.
Okay.
And he lives over here. Maybe no, actually, he lives closer to your neck of the woods now. He moved over to America, and the guy builds huge, massive swords. Have you seen the guy?
Oh yeah. He had that show on TV briefly. Big Giant Swords.
Did he have a
it's like
show?
Michael Cthulhu or something?
Yes, Cthulhu.
Yeah. He's over on Martha's Vineyard.
Yes. What a trip, dude. So I was going to tell you about him real quick, that he, in order to avoid, you know, he's got all the bells and whistles, you know, as far as welding, and yet he's very savage because he's barbaric if you watch his channel.
Oh, yeah.
But he'll take scraps of leather when he's dealing with the wire fed, and he'll just lay it all around so it minimizes the splatter.
Huh, interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So like he drops, and he'll do, and then so the splatter hits, and then he's got less of a situation going on.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a pretty neat.
Yeah, isolating his area, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. He's a pretty trippy dude.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of his videos on YouTube at one point, but they're way too long. Like his videos are like 45 minutes long, 3 hours long.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but you know what? It's funny. I like kicking back sometimes. I don't do it much lately, but like last year, the year before last, I would kick back, put on his show, because I love it, dude. He's out in the middle of nowhere, and he talks to you, and he's like, I just got burnt. Oh well, that's what happens. And he's blood gushing down and stuff.
And he's he's one of those guys that you can just listen to him talk for hours. He's just so entertaining.
Yeah, so there's certain things that I'll sit back and watch, but not so much lately. But yeah, that's a tremendously cool channel.
Did you ever try beans and cheese on toast?
No.
No, that's his favorite food.
Oh yeah. Is it a British thing?
I think it is, right? Like the beans and whatever. That's British, right?
Talking about baked beans.
Yeah.
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 Beans and cheese on toast.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
Has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Very nice.
Any other questions there?
Not at the moment, but I can tell you that in the chat. You got Mr. Heath Knuckles out there, the man with the golden spears.
Oh, okay. Tell Heath that I've got a message for him.
Heath, he's got a message for you.
So don't go to bed yet.
Don't go to bed yet. He can hear you. We're live.
That's fine.
These CNCs out there. Jim Bashirs, Thomas Spillane, Jim Dockrell, Al Forte, Portal Woodworks, which is David Jones. Harvey's out there, David Birch. Who else there? TJ's out there, Tracy Keaton, Jake Thompson, still LOL in that, Snow Crusher. Harnealmedia. I just said Tracy Keaton. What is it? John from Be Happy. And I'm out there. Oh, and Kivera. I think I pronounced that right. Yeah. Kivera.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I want to mention also another thing that, and it's funny because, again, skulls, and I've talked in the background to people, and they always say, well, look, dude, skulls is pleasing to a lot of people, but to many people it's a put off because it's a skull. It's a reminiscent of, all the things we know it's reminiscent of.
It's pleasing to cool people.
Yeah, well, exactly.
People that get it.
I mean, exactly. So I like skulls, so I use that a lot in the theme, and my theme is a reminder of the shortness of time and how live, and do the things that make you happy. Try to do that and focus on the things, because life is. So I look at it from that, and plus I look at it from, I grew up, watching all these bands with their logos and skulls and all these monsters and stuff, and I just dig. I'm fond of it, reminiscing, looking back, because I grew up listening to those hair metal bands and all that. So that's how come those two particular reasons. But I love the keychains that you forge so much, dude. My goodness, it's so primitive and so bad to the bone. You sell those, yeah?
I do.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, Etsy store.
Mm-hmm.
But I've probably made at this point probably 120, 130 of them.
Yeah.
And I've probably sold, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 of them. The rest of them I've just given them away. I make them out of 3/4 inch nuts that I get a Tractor Supply. So the nut itself costs me like 20 cents.
Right.
So it's like a single serving. It'd be cheaper if I'd made it out of just bar stock.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the fact that they're made out of nuts.
Very cool. And you have a forge. Is that like a new edition or no?
Yeah, I picked that up a couple of years ago. A couple towns away from me, there's a school called the Guilford Art Center, and they offer blacksmithing classes. And a good friend of mine, Mace Vitale, is one of the instructors there. He was on Forged in Fire, won his episode. And, he's like, you should come down to the forge and take a class someday. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. And I went into the blacksmithing class not knowing what the hell I wanted to make. And I was never like an armor guy or a knife guy. And he had a couple friends come over, and he made a very small skull out of just some bar stock. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, someday I'm going to get good enough where I'm going to be able to make a skull. And that's all I've really wanted to make ever since I got the forge, even though I've kind of dabbled in some knife making and some other little doodads and thingamadoodles.
Dude, I totally love that particular item, and
Yeah,
again, that connection. I think that sold when I started seeing those things, and I know not everybody has the same.
Yeah, that's a skull horseshoe.
Oh, badass.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I saw you go. Then you showed it to one of the tattoo artists. He's on the tattoo program.
Another one of those.
Oh yeah.
I can't think what ink master.
Show that one.
No,
Show that.
and
Show
of
those
course
again. Show them all again, because when we talk, the screen
Okay.
pops over to us. I'm sorry, JP.
Yeah. That's made out of a 1-inch nut. And if you look at the side of it, you can see the seam where it kind of folds over.
Yep.
Then, every now and then I'll go to flea markets and I'll find horseshoes. So I made a few of these. It's real common for farriers to make these with like horses on them, but I've never seen anybody do skulls on them until I started making them. Then, of course, if you have a Ford...
Did you take one of them, the horseshoe skulls, the guy that was on Ink Master? I forget what his name is.
Oh, yeah. Oliver Peck. I got tattooed. Yeah, I got tattooed by Oliver about a month or so ago. I got the owl.
That's nice.
Right there. And I gave him a keychain and the horseshoe. And if you have a forge, you have to make a knife out of a railroad spike. That's just a rule, It's a pretty crappy quality knife, but, it's fun to make. Then, rebar knife with a little whip-de-doo thing. Forging's fun. Sucks in the summer, I'll tell you that much. It's great in the winter.
Well, how hot does it get over there in the summer? Because I'm telling you, I live in the pit of so Florida is like, dude, this is a nightmare, dude. It's like the heat, the humidity, it's like too much, man. And all year, like this week, we had a couple of days of cool climates, and it feels good. But for the rest of the year, we're like burning.
Around here in the summer, we'll get some really humid days, but it ranges from like 80 to 100 degrees.
Oh, wow.
100 being on the really hot end, but 80, 90. Where you get those 95-degree days with like 100% humidity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it can get pretty miserable. Not as bad as Florida, though. I think Florida's hell.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah. When you take a shower and you come out and you keep sweating, doesn't even cool you down.
It's constant, dude. Have you ever been down here?
Oh, a number of times.
Yeah. It's like if you ever fly down from up north, the northern lands, and the airplane, the doors open, depending on you feel, or you leave from the inside, climate controlled airport, and you open up the door. It's like a vapor.
Oh yeah, that wall of heat.
Yeah, dude. So, well, I guess I want to ask you this question: where are you looking to head with your channel? The things that you'd like to do, or just the thoughts that occur to you. If you can let us into a few little secrets of even if there's nothing solid, or if there is anything you could offer us to know where your mind is at, and endeavors that you look forward to or are dabbling with. Anything you can give us, we'll grab onto and have it for this episode forever.
Okay, you mean as far as projects go, or just future goals?
Projects, future goals, anything that comes to mind within that scope of like you looking forward, and be it projects, or be it with your channel, or be it with whatever within the making.
Okay, when I first started my channel, I remember like the really early goals. Like the first time you hit like, I have 50 subscribers. Like there's 50 people that are into what I'm doing. Then you hit 100, then 1,000. And I hit 5,000 not too long ago. So I think I'm at like 5,500, somewhere in that ballpark. I'd like to get to the next step, maybe, 10,000, which I think would be kind of cool. But once you hit 10, then you start looking towards 20. I'm not sure as far as like I'll be able to take it. I think my channel is pretty interesting. It's not for everybody. I think because of the music. There's a lot of people that hate the music I use. So sometimes I think, well, maybe I should change it up a little bit to make it a little bit more friendly to everybody. But then I'm like, I don't know. I have a whole list of projects that I want to do. A lot of sign work, a lot of furniture projects. Maybe some like mini bike builds or some scooter builds in the future, but just keep it kind of creative, keep it my style. I'm not sure.
Well, there's a lot there. I like, so that's exactly what I was looking for, dude, because, you know, these are the internal debates that you have. So you're very aware. You're a guy that's very aware. Well, it's in your face when people tell you, but you're aware, well, there's people want this, but I'm sort of I'm sort of this, and this is where I'm at, and should I compromise, or would it be a good idea so I can put my stuff out there? All those conflicts, I think that's you sharing that with us is a very humanizing thing and awesome. Any thoughts on that?
Yep. Kind of one thing I want to add is when YouTube changed their monetized requirements recently, I thought I didn't have enough views to monetize. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to monetize my channel, so I'm not going to worry about using music that's not copyrighted. I'm just going to use the music that I want to use, and I'm not going to worry about monetizing. But I had more than enough views, so I'm still monetized even though I haven't made any money yet. So that was kind of a catch-22. I was kind of relieved at one point, like, okay, if I don't have to worry about monetizing, I can just use whatever music I want to use, providing I'm allowed to use it. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. I'm not sure what kind
that's
of
exactly that's what we want. We actually want that. That's exactly
right.
what we want. You're on the right track.
But since I'm still currently monetized, I'm like, okay, great. So now I have to kind of tiptoe around the music I want to use. I have like tons of friends that are in bands, and I have a huge list of music that I can use from friends' bands that was never really on any labels or anything. So it's nice to just go through my iTunes and find like a song that's a certain length that fits the groove that I'm kind of doing on a video.
Mm-hmm.
So matching music up to the videos tends to be the trickiest thing for me.
Yeah, so let me speak to that. I created a music pack, and because I've been doing music all my life, right? Yeah. And so Shogun Jimmy one time, like last year at some point, did mention, dude, you do all this music, why don't you offer makers, the music, you just put it into a pack and offer that. I dabbled with the idea and I said, why not? Thank you, Portal Woodworks. I appreciate that, dude. By the way, if you could post Portal Woodworks,
I'm on it.
Yeah, Portal Woodworks on YouTube. He did the bandsaw box challenge, which I did. And check him out. As far as vintage is concerned, by the way, he is amassing and has been amassing for years a massive amount of. I use massive like 3, 4, 5 times. An incredible. You're not supposed to do that in writing and stuff, but I think in speech you can go ahead. Chad is a stickler for that kind of stuff. Mancrafting, by the way, like he doesn't let up. He's amassed Portal Woodworks, David Jones, a huge, I guess warehouses and at home and everything of vintage items. Like the guy, like table saws, band saws. He's got a lathe that's like for like an industrial. I don't believe it. Yeah, like I'm talking serious stuff. And his channel is fairly new, maybe a year old. I'm not too sure. I think it's about that. But you can find him also on Instagram, which I think he might prefer if you linked his Instagram.
I can do that.
Yeah, that would be cool. But anyways, so I created this music pack after Shogun Jimmy had mentioned it, and I brought it over to Steve Nealon, and the idea is that, right? So I've sold a bunch of them, right? And what's cool about it is that it's digital. So like when we're making, we have to make it. Once it's sold, we have to replace it. But music is all digital stuff. So
nice.
Right? It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
But here's the bit that I wanted to mention about that. And by the way, you guys can look at the link if you're interested to look. I have free music as well. I'm gonna keep adding music to it. So there's free music. You can hear them. You can check them out and stuff. I'm growing the list, right, of things that you can download for free and all that. It's on my website. But here's what I did with that is that I added tracks that are WAV files so that people can take. And what happens is that WAV files, you can drop them and you could extend them and they match up perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah, with MP3s, they won't, like, you. If you take an MP3 and you have a whole song and you drop it, and then you drop a copy of that song, it won't loop itself. It'll sound like it stops and continues. When you use WAV files, you can create your own length of song. So I did that considering makers that would want to extend songs and this and that. So it's like 55 songs in the music pack and all that. Well, I come to find that most people that have bought or at least the ones that have come back and said, hey, this, and that, is that they don't use that feature at all. Like, it's like, I don't even want to bother with that. They just take the MP3, drop it, connect another MP3 to it, and they just keep going. Because, who wants to bother with that? So in my next music pack, I'm not even going to deal with the WAV file, but it was intended so that you could paste and create your own song to the length of your whatever your video would be. One guy does do that, and that's Randall. I believe Randall Ray is the name. He's from the West Coast. If I got that wrong, dude, forgive me. I'm live and have had a couple of non-alcoholic beers. But anyways, with that said, yeah, the music thing is always a difficult thing because do you like the style? Does the style match for you? And all that jazz. I think that if you have buddies in your local area, that'd be a tremendously awesome thing.
Yeah.
To keep doing. Yeah.
I haven't put a video out in probably almost 2 months now. Anything build related. So I'm definitely overdue. I've been thinking about it again. I don't want to just put videos out just because I need to put a video out. I want to be like inspired to do it. I'm starting to get inspired again. So probably in the next week or so, I'll put something together. So look forward to that. Oh,
heck yeah, dude. Your work is your work is awesome. It's again, oh yeah, dude, absolutely. I particularly like it because how it's put together. So if it were up to me, I would say, oh no, that's like, do it like that, I'll tell you what I would want, like a little bit of this, like where you go off and on a tangent. That's not saying that you should or not. I'm just saying that in my mind, I wonder. That's why you're on the show, actually. And JP mentioned, hey man, how about David Gagné? And I was like, yeah, dude, I want to know more about the guy, dude. Like, what's going on, right?
Well, thank you for having me on here.
Oh, dude,
I'm trying to get more comfortable talking on camera. The first few times I tried talking on camera was just a big disaster, and like horrible, nervous, sweaty, just. I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable now.
Well, awesome, dude. Well, listen, let me ask you this. Did you enjoy the show then?
Oh, of course. Thank you. It's great to talk to you one-on-one. I'd love to come down to Florida, hang out sometime.
Heck yeah, dude. It'd be an honor. So you will come back on the show?
Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, anytime you want me to.
Right on. Are there any shout outs? I did link everything down there, the Etsy, everything down there, or that I found. If there's anything missing, let me know, because this is going to be out for as long as I'm around, and even if I'm not around, I think the channel will continue until YouTube shuts down, right?
Yeah.
And afterwards, eventually, we'll write an article on my website and link everybody up, and so that there's an article written about you and this interview in a collapsed fashion. We don't want to go 50 pages of everything we've said.
Right.
So any shout outs or anything you'd like us to know before we boogie?
Nothing I can think of. I know earlier you were talking about people that reached the milestones. I know Mr. Jeffrey Smith just broke 100 on his YouTube channel. So I just wanted to point that out.
Nice.
So I want to shout him out.
Cool.
And so his name, Jeffrey Smith?
Yeah, Mr. YouTube? Jeffrey Smith on YouTube.
What does he do?
He's Just little projects, trying to get his channel off the ground. Check him out.
All right, will do, dude. JP?
Nothing from me as far as I know.
All right. Well, I just want to finish off by saying, well, number one, thank you to our guest, David Gagné from Elm City Vintage. He kicks butt, guys. Awesome. It really, you know, it's what I enjoy watching that sort of, you know, that mixture of with the music, the, you know, the in your face and all that. I kind of like that. So very much to do with how I enjoy, you know, consuming content.
I'm glad you like what I do.
Yeah, dude.
Eloy approves.
I approve. So you guys can.
I'll keep doing it then.
Yeah. You don't need my approval. I do want to thank you guys out there for coming out and hanging out with us. And again, we want to make it interesting. So what we do is, you know, we like to kick back and talk to people and see if we can draw. Like tonight, just to let you know, for you guys that are still watching, tonight we drew some awesome bits there that we didn't know about David. I mean, we learned some awesome bits there and got some insights, which is bad to the bone. So I'm pretty happy about that. We're going to keep doing these things. I don't know what JP has lined up for next week. Sometimes I line them up. Sometimes JP lines them up. So we want to keep it surprising for everybody, right?
Evil laugh.
Oh, well, goodness. You haven't told me.
I haven't told me yet.
So good night to you guys. We'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great week.
Okay. Thank you for having me on. Stay safe out there.